Ladies and gentlemen, Hurricane Melissa has brought some of its rage to the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo, and it's also starting to hit Jamaica. Mildly, yes, but with a lot of rain and a lot of problems that comes with that. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and join us in the comment sections. Offer your prayers for Jamaica and Santo Domingo. Thank you.
The Atlantic hurricane season has made its presence felt with the passage of Tropical Storm Melissa, which lashed the Dominican Republic's capital, Santo Domingo, with heavy rain and strong winds on Thursday and Friday, October 23rd to 24th, 2025. The slow-moving system unleashed significant rainfall, triggering floods and landslides that disrupted daily life, though initial reports indicate Santo Domingo appears to have escaped the worst of the potential damage. Footage and reports from Santo Domingo depicted streets turning into fast-flowing rivers as the intense rainfall quickly overwhelmed drainage systems. Al Jazeera and Reuters reported scenes of vehicles navigating flooded streets and several small landslides affecting the capital's infrastructure. Local reports from social media also showed fallen trees and power lines, with some neighborhoods experiencing electricity cuts. The U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo issued a weather alert on October 23rd, advising residents and visitors of the heavy rain and the risk of flash flooding. While Santo Domingo experienced significant tropical storm conditions, the most severe threat of Melissa's intensification into a major hurricane appeared to shift toward other parts of the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica and southern Haiti. The storm's erratic and slow-moving nature created a high degree of uncertainty, with forecasters from the National Hurricane Center warning of potentially catastrophic flash flooding and landslides as it strengthens. According to CNN, rainfall totals of up to 14 inches were projected for southern Haiti and the southern Dominican Republic, with isolated areas possibly receiving even more, depending on Melissa's track and intensity. The Dominican Republic's Emergency Operations Center placed numerous provinces, including Santo Domingo, on red alert status as the storm progressed. These alerts signaled the danger of strong winds, heavy rain, and associated flash flooding. COE's app, Alerta COE, and website were recommended for residents to stay updated on conditions. In a televised address, COE Director Juan Manuel Mendez urged the population to remain in their homes or designated shelters and to exercise extreme caution. While the city of Santo Domingo was spared a direct hit from a major hurricane during Melissa's passage, the event serves as a reminder of the region's vulnerability. The city has a history of major hurricane impacts, though direct hits are infrequent compared to some other Caribbean islands.
Now, I know that there are many Jamaicans who are anxious, who are very concerned, and rightfully so. You should be concerned. But the best way to address anxiety and any nervousness and concern is to be prepared. So I would urge all my fellow citizens, everyone who is now feeling nervous, anxious, uncertain, that now is the time to be prepared. And the elements of preparedness for a hurricane would be, first of all, you want to protect your shelter. That's absolutely critical, because in a hurricane, you would need to be somewhere where you can be sheltered. Roofs, windows, start there. Battening down. I noticed that many Jamaicans are putting building blocks on their zinc and so forth. That is a solution, but a better option would be to use sandbags, which stay longer and are not likely to be blown off. If you can find plywood or anything of that form to protect your windows, that would be useful. We always say to remove threatening branches from trees. We have seen one incident where someone was injured trying to do that, so we advise that if you're doing that, be super careful in doing that. The next layer of preparation would be to look for areas that are vulnerable to flooding. If you find that your yard is below road level or in a water zone, meaning you have built in a river course, you're on a slope, you're near to the sea, you're in a low-lying area, you're close to or on a gully bank, or historically, you are in an area where the river may change course. You want to take protective measures. And again, simple sandbagging can be useful in directing water away from your shelter. Once you have sorted out your shelter issues, then you have to look for sustenance, food and water. Make sure that you have food that is non-perishable and water that is in proper containers, scaled to the number of persons who live in your household. Then you want to look for ensuring that you have at least some form of lighting, because it is highly likely that the electricity will go either preemptively or as a result of the storm itself. Batteries and flashlights are recommended. You know, the good old home sweet home lamp is always there, but we're always very careful, last resort. Batteries and flashlights, today's technology with LED lights, you can have lights going for a little while in the night. Solar lamps are always good to have. These are things that you would want to have in your possession. Of course, in today's world, telecommunications is important. Make sure you have at least some credit if you use prepaid plans, that you keep your device is safe. We can't give you any guarantee that throughout the storm you will have full coverage. It is likely that you may have some coverage at some point, but you should always, in your hurricane plan, be prepared that you may be out of communication. But nevertheless, keep your instruments safe. Don't let them get wet, so that at least if the signals were to come back, you'll be able to connect. Having done all of that, there is another important thing which we ask you to do. Keep your documents safe. Your identification, your passport, any prescriptions that you may need to be refilled, land titles, and all of those things, keep them safe. Keep them in a safe place. Yes, there would be distribution of benefits without the need for identification, but that would be very limited. In fact, in the humanitarian relief and recovery phase, I would say that most, if not all, the distribution of benefits will require some form of identification because of the accountability issues that, even though it's a hurricane, we can't suspend accountability. So keep your identification safe. At this time, there must be a unified position with all the civic stakeholders and all our political stakeholders. And so I have been in communication with the leader of the opposition. We should meet, and I will give the opposition a full brief. I'm certain that they will have suggestions which we will listen to and take on board. And if determined, then we will have a Zoom call with members of Parliament. I know many of them are in the field, so it depends on how many that we would be able to mobilize. But we have already provisioned them with resources to clean drains and gullies. I know many of them are out in the field supervising these works. And from being a member of Parliament myself and having gone through this many, many times over, your constituents are of the belief that every drain and every gully is going to be cleaned. That may not be possible. Certainly, you would need much more equipment mobilized than we have.
What's up, bro?